A talking parrot bullies a young boy into running away from home and going on a treasure hunt to save his deeply indebted grandpa. We watched The Real Macaw starring John Goodman, today on Nothing Movies.
Hello, however you wish to self-identify, and welcome back to Nothing Movies, where we ask the question, the f*** is this? It's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made, and decide whether or not they've got a certain something, or if they're just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
And my name is Jameson Rafter.
And this is a very special episode of Nothing Movies.
Well, they're all special, but there's something a little bit more special about this one.
Yeah. Do you want to do the honors?
Like a drum roll, or do you want me to just spill the beans?
You just want to just spill those beans. Spill
Okay.
them all over. Spill them all over the place.
This is our 100th episode! Well, not our 100th episode, but it's the 100th movie that we've covered.
It is.
Yeah.
This is what we've decided to do. Yes. This is how...
Boy, you
is
really
how
put me
we-
on the spot there to come up with a nice fanfare.
It's really hard. If we made a banner for
Technically, it's our 100th movie that we've watched, not counting the ones that we recorded but didn't release.
If we made a banner for this, it would be like the length of a wall. It would
be crossed out like a million different times. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
But we're only two goddamn human beings, and I think recording 100 odd movies is an accomplishment in itself.
It absolutely is.
And we should be proud of ourselves for what we've done.
We should be something.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes,
proud?
It's a mix of emotions. It's a cocktail.
Yeah, I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
Yes. Okay. So for those keeping score at home, we have in fact released over 100 episodes of content at this point.
Oh, it makes it sound so soulless when you say content.
Well, it's a soulless industry.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. But yes, we are counting this as the 100th time we have watched a movie and Jameson and I have sat down and recorded ourselves talking about it. But even that's not necessarily true, because we've had a number of abandoned episodes that have not been released for numerous reasons, usually because they were not good.
Or technical difficulties.
And then there's the other avenue you have to consider, in the sense that this isn't even the 100th episode of Nothing Movies, because we used to be The Fuck Is This? And as we've explained multiple times, it's the same show.
Yeah.
Everything that happened...
Just a different name.
Everything that happened in The Fuck Is This is canon to Nothing Movies. Yeah.
It's like when they crossed over Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series into Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
It's
exactly like that.
It's a great metaphor, Jameson, which is why we keep going back to it.
And everyone's going to go over it.
Largely because we get to compare our podcast to Batman the Animated Series, which twists my arm. But it's episode 100, and to mark the occasion, we're of course talking about 1998's The Real Macaw.
Oh, yes.
a talking parrot, Australian family film.
The Aussies have not let us down yet. Well,
we'll get to that. Not to jump ahead, but we're doing this because, I mean, it's the obvious choice. It's the obvious choice for the 100th movie. Why else would we do it? No, we were thinking, we had like a couple of options. You had a really interesting option. You found like a lost movie that has only just recently become available to be seen by the public, but it's like truly a nothing movie in the sense that no one of any note is in it. And we like to have a few famous people hanging around in the margins of the movies that we talk about, just so we can...
There was really no one of note in this movie. It was kind of a harken back to The Fuck Is This, where it was just such an odd find.
But we're not talking about, what was it, Rock and the Alien.
Yeah.
Just to give you some context of what that movie actually is, in case Red Letter Media does eventually do it. I don't know.
We had the idea first.
Exactly. Check the timestamp on this. It's all about who had the idea first. So in that sense, we are the winners. Winner, chicken.
Well said. But speaking of chicken, that's a type of bird. You know what else is a type of bird? A macaw.
That is 100%
where you were going with that.
That is 100% me setting you up for that. I wanted you.
Look at us, like an old married couple finishing each other's sentences.
Exactly. I put the bait out there, and you snapped it up. Yeah. We wanted to take the opportunity on our 100th episode to talk about an actor that we just love. We just love to death. So when we have guests on the episode, we give them the choice of which actor's career do you want to talk about. But in addition to that, Jameson and I both have, our own short list of topics and actors and themes that we would like to do episodes on. And I feel like near the top of your list, Jameson, for a long time now, has been Mr. John Goodman.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who's our topic of discussion today.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that he is my favorite actor, but he seems to be the actor that whenever I see him in a project, I'm put at the most ease. I love seeing John Goodman in stuff. He seems like the kind of actor that just fits into any role and almost seems to elevate the material around him, or is just a natural fit for it, and you can't imagine anybody else in the roles that he's playing.
At ease is an excellent descriptor for John Goodman. Yes, he's a very calming actor.
Even when he's playing intimidating characters,
yes.
You're happy that he's around.
You're happy he's there because he's doing a good job, and and there's like this level of relief. Because you're like, well, that horrible individual doesn't really exist in the world because he's played by lovable old John Goodman.
Yeah.
So, and he's just he's doing his job, but he's letting us know that everything's going to be okay. It's just make pretend. It's just make pretend. That's a phrase that people use.
Yeah.
Make
Not
pretend.
enough actors do that,
Not enough actors are making pretend right now.
Yeah.
No. The thing that's great about John Goodman is that he really is just like the consummate actor. Like you look at his career, which we are going to discuss.
And what
today.
A career it is.
What a remarkable career. He is the type of guy who is in movies, both as a leading man and a supporting character actor, and he's equally great as both. In addition to that, he also has one of the most celebrated television careers of any actor of his decade, including one of the most culturally significant sitcoms of all time, a character that he is still playing to this day. And in addition to that, he also has one of the most recognizable voices of any actor in Hollywood, which he has parlayed into an incredibly successful voice acting career. And I would say of those three avenues of film, TV, and voiceover and stuff like that, there really isn't one that he's better at over the other. I'd say he's equally good at all three of them.
Yeah, I completely agree. And because he's been doing this for so long, there are generations of people that have grown up like in the presence of John Goodman, just being a presence on TV and movies. And the amount of genres that he has crossed into and fits so well into is remarkable, I think, for any actor. And you can really boil it down to, I'd say 4 basic pillars that he's built his career on, which are these beloved comedies, whether they're lighthearted or dark comedies, really chilling horror movies, very successful animated classics, and Coen Brother movies.
And Coen Brother.
Those are the 4 pillars.
They do have. You're quite right.
No matter how long he stays professional in the business, he'll have that body of work.
Absolutely.
Under his belt,
And I would also put forth that in addition to those 3 careers that he has there's also the 4th career that everyone loves him for, being John motherfucking Goodman.
Yeah.
One could argue no one is better at being John Goodman than he is.
No one else could be him.
He's just like an absolutely lovable presence. Everyone wants to have him around. He's hosted Saturday Night Live 13 times.
Yeah.
And he also makes like cameos in episodes that he's not hosting.
Sure, yeah.
He was the very first guest that Conan O'Brien ever interviewed on his show.
Oh, really?
Yep. Huh. He was the very first one. There's a funny anecdote that I read on Wikipedia a couple hours ago where after the interview, Conan gave him the first guest ever medal, which John Goodman reported that he later pawned for a bottle of cheap scotch. But he's a delightful guy. He doesn't have like any scandals. He's been very upfront about his struggles with alcoholism. And, the trials and tribulations that he went through, that the people who are also struggling with that can look to him as someone who made it out the other side, who wrestled his demons. Yeah, John Goodman. We love him.
Absolutely.
What a gent. What a fantastic guy. Let's talk about some roles.
Sure, yeah.
We can't.
There's too much.
Cannot go into his entire career. So I've cherry-picked some of the more significant ones here. So his career begins in 1983, and the thing that we're going to pick up on very quickly is that he's so prolific. When I say like a year that he made a movie, that's usually followed by 2 or 3 other movies in the same year.
Yeah.
He likes to do a lot. And he will do small little bits, and he'll do like animated stuff and video games and stuff like that, and he'll crush them all into one calendar year.
Yeah, with his bare hand, because he's a massive man.
He can do that, because he's also a mountain of a man. Although he has lost a lot of weight.
He has. Good for him.
1983, he has 2 small roles. His first movie role is in a Kirk Douglas movie called Eddie Macon's Run. And then shortly after that, he has a small role in the Walter Matthau, Robin Williams buddy comedy, The Survivalists. 1984, he's in 2 cult classics of varying degrees of goodness. He's in Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, yes, yeah.
As the coach, I believe, is the high school coach.
Right.
And he also plays a cop sitting at a diner in a beloved cult horror movie, Chud.
Oh, okay. I remember seeing him in Shud and being like, "Oh shit, it's John Goodman. Just what's he doing there? Not doing anything else. Just
because it was super early for him. Yeah. He wasn't really John Goodman yet. Both Chud and Chud 2 have a surprising number of people who weren't famous yet. I think Daniel Stern is also in Chud. Got to get around to seeing Chud one of these days.
Got to chud it out.
Yeah, have a real Chud-tastic evening. This is good.
Yeah. That's great. Can you believe we made it to 100 episodes?
His first role of any sort of significance, this is a movie I really need to see. I got into Talking Heads pretty late. I only got into Talking Heads during the pandemic. Actually.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
But in 1986, David Byrne directed and starred in a movie called True Stories. That's about David Byrne plays like this omniscient narrator type figure. And it's basically just a movie about a town and the people that live in the town. And John Goodman kind of has a central role as like a guy looking for love. And I'm pretty sure David Byrne has some things to say about that. Probably in song.
Yeah.
Gotta see this True Stories movie, because I really enjoy David Byrne's work a lot, and he only directed 1 movie.
Yeah, from what I recall, it's just a lot of different vignettes.
Yeah.
In the movie, yeah.
1987 is the first time that he works with the Coen brothers in their second movie, Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
Where he plays one of a pair of
dumb crooks that escape from prison, and they meet up with Nicolas Cage, if I recall.
They try to steal the baby, and they fail?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
He's got like a small role in that, and then that would parlay into... that's the second word I've used. Parlay. I don't know.
Sag into...
I don't know. Look, all I've done... I woke up really late today, and all I've done today is play Mario Odyssey, so I have not had like a fulfilling day. I've really just...
Well, how many moons did you collect?
A lot of moons.
All right, well then you have fulfilled something.
I 100%ed New Donk City.
There you go.
Which I'm quite proud of.
Excellent.
Anyway, Raising Arizona. 1988 is a really big year for him. He has a small role in the Louis Anderson comedy The Wrong Guys, and he's also in the Sally Field Tom Hanks comedy Punchline. But 1988 is also the first year of Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
Which will be on the air until 1997, and then back on the air again in 2018.
Yeah.
And then off the air, and then back on the air again with a different name.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had eyes on the show Roseanne. I know it's like one of those quintessential sitcoms of that era.
I've watched a handful of episodes here or there because it was a show that was on TV.
Sure.
So I've sat down and I've watched like a handful of Roseanne episodes back
But
then.
Isn't the legacy of it that in the last season it was revealed that John Goodman's character dies, but then they bring him back in the revival series?
The 1990s.
And then they cancel Roseanne, but then they revive the show as The Connors without Roseanne, but John Goodman is now the lead? Am I getting that right?
You got the chronology basically right. The 1997 wacky season, final season of Roseanne, there are a lot of episodes where, like, Roseanne stops, like, a train heist or something like that. Like, every episode, something, like, wild and elaborate happens. And then the final episode, the series finale of the time, was that it's revealed in the final episode that the past season has just been Roseanne daydreaming. It's revealed that, like, shortly after they won the lottery, Dan died of a heart attack, and she's just been imagining him being alive for this entire episode. Yeah, it's like a classic wacky sitcom ending on a very depressing note that a lot of people couldn't really reckon with. And then, I didn't watch Roseanne when it came back. I never watched those episodes. I've also never seen The Conners. I'm kind of interested in seeing The Conners because, I mean, it's not available on any streaming network. So I'm not
what season are they at now of The Conners?
I don't know what season they're on, but I did look it up on IMDb. The Conners is up to 96 episodes.
Jesus Christ!
I know, The Conners has actually been on for, like, longer than I think we realize.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, and then they kill Roseanne off within the context of The Conners in the first episode. Roseanne dies of an opioid overdose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Again, a really depressing thing for, like,
a
ostensibly
comedy.
like a wacky sitcom about, like, family and stuff. But again, I have no idea. I've never seen The Conners. I don't know. But it's, it's a sitcom with John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf. I could get into that.
Yeah.
But 1989, he is in two films. He's in Sea of Love, which at the time was kind of a comeback for Al Pacino, I believe. John Goodman is his partner in that. He's also in the weirdest movie Steven Spielberg has ever made, Always. That classic Steven Spielberg supernatural romance forest fire fighting thriller disaster movie that also happens to be the final film role of Audrey Hepburn. Always is strange.
Okay.
Always is
always be strange.
Movie.
Okay.
It will always be weird. Then 1990, he has a co-lead role in the Bette Midler drama Stella. But more importantly, he is in Arachnophobia, which is a movie I have seen many times on cable because it was a movie that always played on cable. And I remember because it had like this air of like a horror movie that's kind of okay for kids to watch.
Yeah,
but also it's horror. It's a terrifying movie.
Sure, yeah,
it's not good. If you don't like spiders, you will. Yeah. It's called Arachnophobia. So
yeah, like he's the exterminator in that, and he kind of has like big action hero moments, if I recall.
Yeah, but it's all with like a hint of irony
cheek,
because it's like, he's like the spider exterminator, and he's playing it like Rambo, but he's like the comedic relief in that.
But everyone kind of walked away from thinking like, oh yeah, John Goodman's awesome.
Hell yeah. 1991 is the first time he is the top billed actor, number one on the call sheet, and it starts with King Ralph.
Yeah.
Where he's like a beer-loving American guy who finds out through hilarious circumstances
he's
that
like English royalty or the descendants of European royalty.
I think they're doing like a Princess Diaries thing where he's like it's like a fake country.
Okay,
but it's it's like a European country or whatever.
Sure, yeah,
like
but you're like the long lost descendant of like this royal bloodline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have never seen King Ralph, but it seems like a Saturday matinee type movie. Maybe after a Friday night out at the bar is all like, I need something to get my mind off the hangover. King Ralph. Perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing could be
I
less
have a King Ralph myself in the washroom.
Oh my God. I didn't even think of that. But then also in 1991, he's in what I would wager is maybe his best performance. And now we're going to get into the part of the filmography where this is now like the other thing that's become synonymous with John Goodman. And he is like always on the top of list of actors that you can't believe have never been nominated for an Academy Award. Because he has given multiple performances that very easily could have been nominated for an Academy Award.
He's a shoo-in for like a Lifetime Achievement Oscar.
But I would say maybe in the running for his best performance ever is the Coen brothers film Barton Fink. Now, did you ever see that?
I did, and I didn't like it the very first time, and then the second time I watched it, I loved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have that takeaway with Coen brothers.
Certain Coen brother movies, yeah. Some of them I just love right away. Yeah. But yeah,
because that has quite a dark ending, and it's kind of I mean, like, because it's a movie where everyone constantly is shitting all over like the main
John
character.
Turturro,
yeah, but he is.
But then when you understand like the themes that are going on and like who John Goodman is meant to represent, in like sort of a high concept biblical sense, yeah, he's terrifying.
I mean, just in the sense he just blows into that movie and he immediately endears himself to both John Turturro and to us, the audience, and we're just like, okay, so like Barton Fink, he's going through his trials and tribulations, but at least he's got his buddy John Goodman by his side. He's a larger than life character. I'm sure he's going to lead us to no end of shenanigans. And then the movie goes on and you realize, oh, you're the devil. Oh, you're literally the devil. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's, as you said, it's one of the most intimidating that John Goodman has ever been on screen. He's
Yeah.
He's so scary in that film, and you know, like, he has such an imposing build. You don't want him coming after you in a burning hotel.
And even when it's revealed who he is and like the shit he's capable of doing, he never quite loses that sort of affable charm that he's had in the build-up to it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's great in that movie.
Yeah, so the run of John Goodman as the main character of a movie continues for the next couple of years. 1992, he's in The Babe, his Babe Ruth biopic that I don't think anyone has seen, and even fewer people seem to like.
Okay.
But, you know, that seemed like a perfectly lateral move. John Goodman, you're a movie star. Babe Ruth?
Yeah,
sure.
You'll be in the Babe Ruth biopic. Who else would be
it?
At that time?
Maybe Bob Hoskins, but yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. 1993, he's in Matinee.
Yeah.
The Joe Dante film Matinee, where he owns a movie theater, and it's all about like the classic 50s black and white B movies, but also the creeping paranoia of nuclear death. Pretty fun movie. And he's also the star of We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, which is his first, I guess, animated. First of many animated performances.
Yeah, he plays the T-Rex in that, right?
T-Rex, and then, speaking of T-Rexes, 1994, he's in the Flintstones, which again, like, Babe Ruth, Fred Flintstone, I feel like his agent at some point in time is all like, John, you're the star of movies now, what do you want to do? And he's just like, shrugged, he's all like, Babe Ruth, Fred Flintstone, like, look at me, what else could I do? If
you lose a single pound and the rolls are gonna dry up for you, John.
You come up with, like, a better answer than that. The Flintstones, a very weird movie.
Yeah.
That has aged very bad. Very weirdly.
That aged the second it was released in theaters.
That was a Stone Age. But just a very strange movie that has maybe the best production design of any movie that exists.
Inexplicably so.
It's a great looking movie, and it's a masterstroke of practical sets and costumes and puppeteering and stuff like that. But
it's just like a fucking Flintstones movie.
But it's a story about like corporate espionage and a very weird plot to base your Flintstones movie around.
I did appreciate how Halle Berry's character was named Sharon Stone.
Indeed.
Yeah, and in lieu of casting the actual Sharon Stone.
I appreciated many things about Halle Berry in that.
Yeah.
That was a bit of an awakening.
Yeah.
Halle Berry in the Flintstones. I can't be the only one. 1997, he's in The Borrowers. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Tiny Little People.
Yeah.
Eventually done so much better by Studio Ghibli. Did you see that? Did you see their...
The Studio Ghibli one? No.
Yeah. Skip the John Goodman one, just go straight to Studio Ghibli.
Gotcha.
But he's in that. He's also in Fallen. Denzel Washington is a cop, and he has to catch a ghost, and a ghost is like possessing people.
Okay.
And John Goodman is his partner. It's a wacky movie.
Okay. Oh, is it a silly movie?
It's a serious movie, but like it's a silly serious movie.
Okay.
Because it's about a ghost who possesses people.
Gotcha.
And Denzel Washington's trying to track him down. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's a fun watch. 1998. Big year for him. He, of course, is Walter in The Big Lebowski.
Oh, I was waiting for you to get to The Big Lebowski.
I mean, like,
all time.
Start the timer here, because we could charitably talk about Big Lebowski for the rest of this podcast.
Perfectly cast movie. Everybody fucking bought into that, and him as Walter is just such a revelation. Like, he is amazing in that role, and he's in equal parts intimidating and hilarious, and every time he's
weirdly sympathetic,
especially at the end, when he breaks down after spoilers for The Big Lebowski, but Steve Buscemi dies.
You should have watched it by now.
Yeah,
Big Lebowski was people didn't know what to think of it when it came out.
It was kind of underappreciated at its time.
Like, it really took a while for it to catch on and build an audience, but now it has like this massive audience that has like cons.
Oh yeah,
just about the film.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a cult classic for a reason. Even though I wouldn't even call it cult now. It's finally understood more than it was when it was first released. And every time Walter actually shows up in a scene, you're like, oh boy, I wonder what this nutjob's going to do this time, what he's going to say this time. Because he only exists to make the dude's life, which is already going off the rails, further off the rails. He is not there to help. He thinks he is. And the dude kind of thinks he is too. But then by the end of the scene, you realize he's just made shit worse.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
I think that at its core, that's one of the many relatable things about The Big Lebowski is that we all have a friend like Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we don't have a friend as extreme as Walter, but we all have like a friend where it's like, why do I keep hanging out with this guy? He just creates more and more chaos for me.
Oh, so many lines in that goddamn movie.
So many lines that I love and cannot repeat on a podcast because they technically include slurs. But yeah, no, I love that. Just so great, so fantastic. So yeah, he's got.
Sorry, just go on. Otherwise, we're gonna start trading bars on The Big Lebowski.
So he's in Lebowski in 1998. Also in 1998, he has an uncredited cameo as the mayor in Norm Macdonald's Dirty Work.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Of course, he's Mac in the real Macaw.
Yeah.
But 1998 isn't even the only time he played a character named Mac in a movie in that year, because he also plays Mighty Mac in Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah.
1999, he's in the Martin Scorsese film Bringing Out the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Really good movie. Really good Nicolas Cage performance in that. 2000, he's back with the Coen brothers in a small role in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yep. Good role as like sort of the Cyclops parallel.
Absolutely. He's also in Coyote Ugly that year, and he's also in The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, probably the funniest Disney animated movie.
Yeah, and a great example of what a great utility player John Goodman is, because he's absolutely perfect in that role as kind of the straight man.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is bigger and funnier and kind of hits more in that film, but you need Goodman in that performance. He's the anchor.
He's the heart of that movie.
Absolutely.
Too. Mm-hmm.
He's the beating heart. He's the meme with the thing you can't see because it's a podcast, but I'm doing the finger.
What?
The John Goodman meme. It is.
Oh.
You've seen that before.
Maybe I have. I'm not into memes, man.
Well, I envy you.
Okay.
2001, he's James P. Sullivan in Monsters Incorporated.
That's true, yep.
Maybe his most beloved
I'd say
voiceover performance?
I would say so, yeah.
In the sense that he keeps bringing it back.
Mm.
A less beloved voice performance, 2003, he's in The Jungle Book 2 as Baloo.
Oh, really?
Again, kind of a lateral move.
Fuck, I didn't even know there was another animated movie that he was in. I thought like the last animated movie he would have been in that wasn't, the Monsters, Inc. sequel. He was in Jerry Seinfeld's B movie, wasn't he?
Just you wait, my friend.
Okay.
2007, Death Sentence, plus Evan Almighty, plus B movie.
Okay.
Big year for him. I'll speed through this now. Speaking of speed, 2008, he's Pops Racer in Speed Racer.
Oh, fuck, I forgot he was in Speed Racer.
A great performance.
Mm-hmm.
A great performance in a very good movie. People really slept on Speed Racer. Speed Racer is significantly better than whatever opinion you currently have of Speed Racer.
I think that was just because people were so hesitant about jumping back into like the Wachowski siblings.
After the two Matrix sequels.
After the two Matrix sequels, but also, I think wasn't that the same year that Iron Man came out?
Yeah. It was
so
the
it
year
kind of
of
stole all of its thunder.
Yeah, it was
that
the
and
year
The
of
Dark Knight.
Yeah, it was a year of big blockbusters, and Speed Racer kind of got lost in the shuffle, but really interesting movie that does some interesting stuff with narrative storytelling, and again, like you look at the cartoon that the character is based on, like you look at like the anime Speed Racer, and you look at the character of Pops Racer. Yeah, obviously you're going to cast John Goodman in that.
Get me the guy who played Fred Flintstone and Babe Ruth.
2009, he has a small role in The Princess and the Frog. He's the nice white man.
Oh, the nice plantation owner, right? Yeah.
I don't think he owns a plantation, but he's a southern man in a white suit, and it's just I have no
pretty much his same character from Oh Brother We're Out There, except nicer, right?
I have no bad opinions on this enterprising black restaurant owner. I just come here every day and I get my beignets, and I'm friends. I'm friends with the black community, everyone. That's a move.
That's a movie.
That's a movie, all right. 2011, this is a movie I bet a lot of people have forgotten that he's in Kevin Smith's Red State.
Yeah, it's return to horror after Arachnophobia.
That kind of an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Kevin Smith movie that a lot of people slept on because they weren't happy with the direction that he was taking.
Yeah.
And like his late, like Tusk and I haven't seen Yoga Hosers, but like those are of a quality. I think Empire's Red State is actually kind of an interesting movie.
From what I've heard of his experimental horror film phase, that is like the best of those three. But that was around the era where he was just coming up with movies based on tangents that he would go on his podcast with, and then and while he was smoking weed, and he's said, we should make this a movie.
Yeah. And then eventually I think he's come to the realization, you know what, Kevin? Smoke weed after you're done making the movie. Also in 2011, he's in the movie that won Best Picture of the Academy Awards, The Artist, where he has one of the only spoken lines of dialogue at the very end of the movie. He's also excellent in the limited series TV show, or maybe it was just a show that got canceled.
Oh, Treme?
Treme, yeah. Where he's like really good and really dramatic and has like this gut-wrenching episode where, spoiler, he commits suicide at the end of it. But just like one of the best episodes of television of the early 2000s. And in addition to that, in 2011, just for the hell of it, he's also the villain of Community Season 3.
Yeah.
He's the rival Dean.
That's right.
He's in like 6 episodes. He's like the main villain of that season.
Mm-hmm.
And he's great at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're entering sort of like the era of John Goodman should have gotten an Oscar nomination this year. Because 2012, he's in both Argo and he's in Flight.
Yeah.
And I would say he's actually great in both of those movies.
Yeah.
2013, Inside Llewyn Davis. I think my personal favorite Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie. He has like a very small role in that, but he's sensational. He's so good as like the grumpy, heroin addicted, irascible jazz musician. He's also the villain of Hangover 3.
Oh,
which
really?
no one remembers.
Yeah,
that is a movie that fails John Goodman because it is ostensibly the third Hangover movie.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he is brought in as the villain, and they do not give him a single joke.
They don't do a thing, anything with him.
They asked John Goodman to be the villain of this movie, and they say, play it entirely straight. And it's just like, what a utter waste of your John Goodman in your movie that no one wanted. 2014, he's in a pretty good movie called The Gambler.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg movie. This is the closest we're ever going to get to John Goodman playing the Kingpin because he has a shaved head in that movie, and there's like a scene where Mark Wahlberg goes to like, he's like a crime boss.
Yeah, fuck, did I see that? I think I might have seen The Gambler. I don't remember liking it.
I didn't want to get into this tangent, but I'm going to have to now because we're talking about The Gambler. So there's a dialogue exchange in The Gambler that I absolutely love because it's one of the only times I remember.
Mark Wahlberg's a teacher in that, right?
He's a teacher who has a gambling problem.
Yeah, right.
Stop casting Mark Wahlberg as teachers.
Right, didn't work out in The Happening. No. It's not going to work out in The Gambler.
But like, he's in crazy debt to John Goodman and I think like some other crime bosses or whatever. So there's a scene where Mark Wahlberg is meeting John Goodman at a bar and they're having their conversation, and then this waitress shows up, this server shows up, and she talks to Mark Wahlberg and she says, "What can I get you?" And he does like the standard movie answer of, "I'll get a beer." And then in a moment of stunning self-realization, the waitress goes, "What beer?" What beer do you want? Because like everyone in a movie just says like, I'll have a beer. And then they give him a glass of beer and it's like, that's never happened. So, and then Mark Wahlberg goes like, "I don't know, you decide." And then the waitress, as she's walking away, goes, "We have over like 55 varieties of beer. Don't put that on me." And as she's walking away, John Goodman goes, "But he did put it on you, miss." I don't know. I just like that. I've always remembered that dialogue exchange. Also in 2014, he's the voice of Hound in Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Oh my God, more voice roles.
Yeah.
For
Also with Mark Wahlberg. 2016, a movie that he 100% should have been nominated for, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Maybe his best performance in decades.
For some reason,
he's phenomenal.
For some reason, that movie turned a lot of people's heads on John Goodman, and I'm like, he's been phenomenal for decades. And you're just realizing this now. Maybe it was because like they hadn't seen him actually play a villain in a popular movie.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I mean, the thing with all of these Cloverfield movies is that part of the appeal is that it's a mystery.
Yeah,
we don't know what we're going to get. Ooh,
yeah.
it's Cloverfield. The thing about that movie is that it's like 90% like this intimate thriller taking place in one location.
Yeah, in that shelter.
And then the last 10% of the ending, the movie just goes absolutely cuckoo bananas.
Much like the real Macaw, but we'll get into that.
We're going to wrap up here. 2017, he has a small role in Kong Skull Island.
Yep.
I remember thinking he was pretty wasted in that.
You can say that about a lot of these
He's
movies.
also in Atomic Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Again, he's just playing a utility player. He's just like someone who's going up to Charlize Theron and being all like, "People are going to fight you." And she's like, "I know."
And then the movie starts.
Yeah, he's like an alien crime boss in Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets. He's in Transformers 5. They brought him back. His last on-screen movie role to date is the 2019 film Captive State, which is from the same director as The Gambler It's a movie that, like, came and went within, like, 2 weeks. It got, like, released, I feel, in, like, April. It doesn't really have any big stars. It's like an alien invasion movie, but it's a movie that just vanished. Vanished. People don't talk about it, but to date, that's the last time John Goodman was in a movie, and he doesn't actually have any movies in development currently right now.
Well, he's got a sitcom role.
Because he has, well, here's the thing, Jameson. Since that time, not only is he in The Conners, which I will say again, is currently on its 93rd episode.
Jeez, yeah.
He also, concurrently with that, is starring in another TV show, The Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
I haven't seen that either, but he is one of the leads of that movie. So he's like the lead of like 2 TV shows at the same time. In addition to that, you're less of a stoner than I am. Are you familiar at all with the Freak Brothers?
The Freak Brothers, no.
This is like marijuana paraphernalia. It's like a cartoon that like, has always existed synonymous with like marijuana culture or whatever. It's basically just like 3 gross stoners going around. They eventually made an animated show of that.
Okay.
And he's one of the leads of that.
Oh, he is?
It's him and Woody Harrelson and Pete Davidson. And I believe Tiffany Haddish voices their cat. This is an animated series that I think was released originally to Tubi. It's a Tubi original.
Oh, no.
So he's got that, and he's also in the Disney Plus original, Monsters at Work, once again, voicing Sully Sullenberger. Not Sully Sullenberger.
That's the guy who landed the plane in the Hudson.
I do get those 2 confused quite a bit. But, like, yeah, he's got, like, 4 TV shows going right now. So obviously he's not doing a movie.
He's too busy to be in movies.
He's doing stuff.
Yeah.
He's getting that Conners money.
Well, good for you, John Goodman. I mean, you deserve to be getting as much work as you can because you're a fucking icon of cinema and you're an American treasure. Was he in Monument Men?
He was in Monument Men.
All right, you're a monument of a man unto yourself.
Well, that's perfect. I'm not going to top that. Let's take a little break, do a charity spot. When we come back, we'll finally get into
our 100th episode.
Our 100th movie
review. Yeah.
And it's real.
Yes, this is an actual real fucking movie.
This is what happens when people when macaws stop being fake and start being real. The real macaw. Remember that from the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
The world is facing an unprecedented global food crisis, brought on by the collision of unique factors such as conflict, inflation, drought, and the ensuing aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the worst hunger emergency the world has seen in decades. And as usual, children living in poverty are the most vulnerable. No child should go hungry, but with the significant rise in global hunger, there is a need for a specific and strategic response. This is where the Save the Children organization comes in. Save the Children provides urgent relief and builds long-term resilience for the most marginalized and deprived families in Canada and around the world. Monthly donations can save lives with essential food, clean water, healthcare, and medical treatment, while also protecting them from natural disasters, regional conflicts such as civil war, and gangland violence, and to provide them with the tools for an education and opportunities to learn, providing healthy starts to their lives. To learn more about the national and international Save the Children programs, or to make a donation, visit their website at savethechildren.ca. Once again, that website is savethechildren.ca.
And we're back. The Real Macaw.
Oh, yes.
It's an Australian film starring a mostly Australian cast. And of course, it is directed by Mario Andreacchio.
Molto bene.
Who is Australian?
Oh.
I feel like I should
well, thanks, guys.
Well, no, I think there's a fairly big... Look, Australia is a fairly big place. They got, like, people from Italy. They got people from other places.
I'm sure they do.
I myself am a person that has a name that sounds like I come from a certain place.
A far-off land.
But no, I'm just a dumb Canadian. Yeah, he has a pretty interesting career. He's directed about 10 movies. His debut film from 1986 is an Ozploitation rape revenge thriller called Fair
wonderful.
Game. that I think reading a review, the Quentin Tarantino film Death Proof drew some inspiration from this movie because it's one of the first times someone attempted the person on the hood of a speeding car type stunt.
Okay.
So that's kind of where he got that from.
Okay.
A young woman running a wildlife sanctuary in the Australian outback is in for trouble when she's confronted by 3 kangaroo hunters. Bored with killing kangaroos, they decide to kill the animals in the sanctuary, and when they see how attractive the owner is, they decide to have a little fun with her, too.
Why did you say it like that, Kaz?
That's how it's written.
Oh, with like an inflection? Like it's written in italics?
Fun is in quotes.
Okay.
It is implied that I am meant to put a little zhuzh on it.
Okay.
But they got more when they were bargained for.
Yeah,
I'm sure she kills all of them.
I hope so.
1988, he follows that up with 2 movies. He directs the film Captain Jono, which appears to be about a misunderstood death boy who befriends an Italian fisherman who is played by the dad from The Real Macaw.
Oh, okay.
And runs away when his sister moves away. And so all the community comes together and it's like, come on, Captain Jono, you're all right.
Oh, Jono.
Oh, Jono! And then also in 1988, he directs a film called The Dreaming. And I would like to take this opportunity for you at home, dim the lights, take a seat, and I am going to give you a dramatic reading of the plot synopsis as written by whoever wrote this on Letterboxd. Because it is a plot synopsis that cannot make up its fucking mind.
Okay.
I have never read a more disassociated plot synopsis in my life. Okay. First sentence. Are they dreams or nightmares? Nightmares or premonitions? A place where ancient mysteries survive and nightmares are real. A burial ground is unearthed. A girl dies. An ancient curse lives on. And then there are the dreams. Dreams or nightmares? Nightmares or premonitions? And then finally in the last sentence, a young doctor becomes inextricably involved in the chain of supernatural events that point towards death. That was all I needed! Okay. That was all I needed from the plot. I don't know why it took like the longest walk to fucking get to that point.
Okay.
Just by this thing?
Or the other thing.
Or this thing.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch to find out, I guess.
So yeah, I have no idea what that movie's about. And then he takes a little bit of a break, and when he comes back, he's kind of fully in family movie mode.
Okay.
At this point. 1995, he directs Napoleon, which is the adventures of a golden retriever puppy who is voiced by the boy from this movie. He works with the same actors a lot. Okay. And his friend, a talking parrot named Berto Lucci. Get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Joan Rivers is a penguin.
Okay. Oh, what?
And Wallace Shawn is an echidna.
Oh, whoa. Kind of makes sense for Joan Rivers to be the penguin, the best dressed animal.
Sure.
Because she was a fashion critic for a while, right?
Yeah. I'm sure that was
their thinking.
That was their thinking there.
Yeah.
1998, The Real Macaw. 1999, he directs a youth film called Sally Marshall is Not an Alien.
Okay.
Then
what is she?
I believe a young Australian girl.
Okay.
2001, he directs Young Blades, which is just a Three Musketeers movie.
Okay.
I guess he just didn't want to call it the Three Musketeers, because I looked into the plot synopsis of this, and yeah, it's just the Three Musketeers.
It's D'Artagnan and,
Hugh Dancy plays D'Artagnan, for all of you,
Hannibal.
Hannibal fans out there.
I like
young Hugh Dancy. 2003, he has a biopic on the painter Paul Gauguin called Paradise Found, starring Kiefer Sutherland. And then 2006, he does 2 more animal movies, does Elephant Tales, which I don't actually think even stars any humans. I think it's just animal footage.
Okay.
And then 2011, he does The Dragon Pearl, which is 2 kids on a magical, mystical Chinese adventure that somehow roped Sam Neill into the proceedings.
Okay.
Oh dear. Oh dear, poor Sam Neill.
So this guy's capable of getting some big names to appear.
He's worked with big people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why? How?
I don't know.
Certainly it's not the strength of the scripts.
Well, I don't know. Well, you can't say that without having seen an actual movie that he's made.
I've seen The Real Macaw, which is a movie that he's made.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen one.
Yeah.
But you can't judge an entire career based on, like, one film. Who knows?
Oh, watch me.
Maybe. I mean, that is what we have been doing for 100 plus episodes
That's
now.
Right.
I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's break into this. Let's talk about the movie that we have chosen to honor John Goodman, a movie that
he does not even appear
that
in.
he does not appear in and is also not listed in the opening credits.
Nope, he went uncredited in this until the closing credits.
Which, he's the titular character.
He is, yeah.
Very rude.
And I imagine that on the VHS box,
Oh, yes.
he's top billed. He'd have to be. That's how you're going to sell this fucking movie to people.
He's 100%.
That's how I was sold on this movie.
On the DVD cover.
I was going through his IMDb list, just looking for, like, what can we cover for John Goodman? And I saw The Real Macaw. What the hell is that? Looked up the trailer, and I just heard him, because you mentioned he's got one of the most iconic voices in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And, he's just doing a piratey parrot voice. And I'm like, oh, I have to watch this.
All right.
Okay, read my beak. I said we've got to help him, Sam.
You just talked.
Oh, well done, Sam.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. He's losing it.
Who else knows?
Quiet. Only Grandpa, and that's how it's going to stay.
But you could be on TV and stuff.
Not me. My beak, she stays in.
Why not?
Get it. They turned me into the freak with a beak. I'd be like Mr. Ed with feathers.
We gotta get this off the table right now. He sounds like Krang.
Yeah.
He sounds like Crane from Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm a parrot and I need to get my body. This episode is also doubling as my demo reel for voice acting. I got everything. I got it all in here. So something that I learned from the remarkably long IMDb trivia list for this movie. This way longer than it needs to be. And it is filled with just utter garbage.
Sure.
Just like not trivia at all. But the one piece of trivia that is in fact trivia is that there's two different versions of this movie. John Goodman, I believe, is only in the North American version. In the Australian version, I believe they got an Australian actor to voice this role. So I think that's maybe why he's not in the opening credits. Is because this was somewhat of a rushed job. And they didn't have the time, or indeed a placement to include his title card in the opening credits, because they replaced him with someone else. Still, though, they should have tried. They should have tried harder.
It's John Goodman, for God's sakes.
Absolutely.
So let's go over the plot here. The movie opens in the Amazon rainforest in 1850. Oh, before we get to that opening track number, that fucking Lion King Circle of Life opening track, I was like,
well, this is
hell yeah.
This is the other weird bona fide that this movie has, because the score is done by the great Bill Conti, who we have talked about on this podcast before. He is the composer of all the Rocky films, the Karate Kid series, The Right Stuff, which he won an Oscar for, and, of course, his greatest work, Desert Heat. But yeah, no,
the music did not stand out in Desert Heat.
Bill Conti
he's
is responsible for the fucking Rocky theme, for fucking da 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 da. He wrote Gotta Fly Now. And now he's right. What's the name of the original song in this? The treasure in you. And that is just one of a handful of original songs.
Yeah, I might have to pick up this soundtrack album.
It does not exist.
No, okay, great.
I can say that with having done no research. That was never pressed.
So, in 1850s, the Amazon, a young blue macaw happens to bear witness to some pirates unearthing this Mayan temple of treasure. Yeah,
it's some real. It's we're starting off this family-friendly movie with a little light genocide. Because we don't know what these pirates went on to do. Well, actually, no, we do. We see them leave the island, but we don't know how many Mayans they slaughtered on their way out. That was a fucking genocide.
Yeah.
What the Europeans did to like the Mayans and stuff, like that was the systematic wiping out of an entire culture. Not great.
Yeah.
Anyway, parrot movie.
Yeah, while they're unearthing this ancient treasure, pirate captain notices this blue macaw eavesdropping on him, so he kidnaps him and takes him aboard his...
Because I've been missing one of these.
Yeah,
I got everything else, but I don't have
any parrots.
I gotta work on that. That's perfect.
So he takes the parrot aboard the ship and he says like, oh, check out this awesome treasure. We're gonna be rich. And he fastens a ring or something around his leg.
I was told I could choose one of the other, the peg leg or the pirate, or the parrot. And I'm really glad that I saw the parrot because both my legs are working fine. So I'm glad that this worked out for me.
Yeah, and then the parrot bites him. While he's chasing the parrot around the captain's cabin, and in a rage, the captain knocks over like an oil lantern or something and burns the ship down. And he escapes with the treasure back onto an island, and he buries the treasure. And the parrot is witness to all of this.
This is some bullshit right here. Like this guy, I guess he's the captain because he's got his own cabin or whatever. And yeah, he has all the treasure. No one else is allowed to have the treasure. But yeah, the ship burns down, and he jumps off the ship and swims with a heavy
gold-filled treasure chest.
Fucking treasure chest. Like, no fucking way would he be able to drag that around himself. Whatever.
But he survives the night, makes it to shore, and he, like, marches a couple of paces inland, and then
not a couple of paces, 540 paces.
Yeah, like wide stride steps,
He makes a point of counting it out.
Yeah.
And Mac the bird is following him along, so, because this will be important later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like, he doesn't even, like, start at any sort of, like, landmark. It's just a very nondescript part of the beach that no one would be able to find other than him. Like the starting point of taking these paces. It's incredibly lucky that a well-versed parrot just happened to be spying on him the entire time, or we would have no movie.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that in these opening credits is where we find out that this movie was co-written by Matthew Perry.
Of Friends fame?
Well, no. This is this movie is co-written by Matthew Perry and stars John Waters in a supporting role. And this is the thing that I think we need to hit on here. I think Australia we're talking about like multiverses and stuff like that. I think Australia just has their own versions of celebrities that we have in North America, but they're like different people and they do different things. The American Matthew Perry is an actor. The Australian Matthew Perry is a screenwriter. The American John Waters is a film director. The Australian John Waters is an actor. The Australian Jack Thompson is an actor. The American Jack Thompson is a lawyer that tried to ban video games.
Right.
Right? But yeah, it definitely seems to come up a lot that there are people within the Australian film industry that just happen to have the same name as other famous people.
I mean, it's just a coincidence, man. I know. That happens all the time.
But, if someone is famous and they have, like, the same name, very often one person will make the decision to be all like, well, okay, I can't. Like, Michael Keaton's name isn't Michael Keaton, it's Michael Douglas.
Okay.
But he couldn't be Michael Douglas because there is a Michael Douglas, so he picked a last name.
Well, there are two players in the NHL called Sebastian Aho. And there's about to be two players in the NHL called Elias Pettersson.
Shouldn't do it. Those aren't like common names at all.
Well,
those aren't like John Smith. Those are very unique names. It's weird that there's two of them.
They're like Swedish players anyways. But it's weird that there are hockey players and two of those guys are about to play for the same team. Anyways, moving on.
Anyways, for all intents and purposes, yes, this was written by Friends' Matthew Perry.
Okay, cool.
in the midst of one of his biggest cocaine binges.
It seems like it. All right, so we flash forward to modern day as we follow this kid named Sam as he's skateboarding home from, I don't know, Angus Young's School for Wayward Boys.
Can I just ask, I know we've moved on from this, but can I just ask, why was the Aztec treasure in, like, shallow water? Why was that, like, the treasure room? It's just, like, various pits of, like, not even, like, deep water, just, like, ankle-deep water, and all the treasure was submerged.
I'm just wondering, like, was that it? Was that all the treasure?
It seemed like it.
It's a massive treasure chamber, and there's just, like, a couple of waiting pools full of, like, goblets and masks and shit.
Yeah, this is our second buried treasure movie in quite a short amount of time, and much like that movie, they're all like, okay, well, look, we can't haul around like a big-ass thing of a treasure this entire time, so shrink the treasure. Make the treasure easier to handle than it would be, than a room full of gold. No, we'll just centralize it to, like, this one thing that's easily carryable for the movie.
Right.
So Sam, He's a cool skateboard kid. He does tricks.
He's a skateboard kid. He kind of sucks at skateboarding.
He jumps over a dog.
That's like the most impressive thing
Yeah.
he does. And he goes to visit his grandpa.
Played by 2-time Academy Award winner Jason Robards.
Mm.
Who gets the top billing on the poster, slightly above John Goodman. I forgot to mention, I totally saw a trailer for this movie back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, I remember seeing a trailer for this as a kid. And even as a kid, with, like, a view of movies that isn't the one that I currently have right now, even then, I thought, this isn't a real movie. This is a fake movie. This
There's no way this can be real.
There's no way that...
What the hell is John Goodman doing voicing a fucking parrot like that?
Because I remember this came out roughly around the same time as Polly. Remember that movie?
No, I mean, I remember it, but I haven't seen it.
Like, Jay Moore is a talking parrot, but is like, he's a talking bird, but like, that take on that is like, what if I was a New Yorker? Hey, I'm flying here! I'm sure he says that in the movie. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
Okay.
Because I was an idiot.
Gotcha.
And I think they might have slapped the real Macaw on the VHS, the trailer for
it
that.
would have come in like a 2 DVD box set.
Oh, I'm sure that
Sure of it,
exists.
yeah.
I'm sure that's a flipper disc.
This
type
guy
situation.
who plays the grandpa, is he an American actor?
He is, yes.
Okay, because I was wondering, why the fuck is this Australian kid who has Australian parents, why the fuck is grandpa an American?
I'm glad you took umbrage with that as well. Now look, it's possible.
Sure.
It totally happens. Like, grandpas are known to have different accents from the rest of their family.
Yeah, maybe he immigrated to Australia.
But also later in the movie, like when he finds out that his house is being taken away from him, he does have the line, "I've lived here my entire life."
Mm-hmm.
So if he was American, he should have a bit of an Australian accent
By
at this
now,
point.
yeah.
And as I have mentioned, Jason Robards is one of the great American actors. He's synonymous with a lot of famous productions of Eugene O'Neill plays, like The Iceman Cometh and Long Day's Journey into Night. So he's like a bona fide theater actor. And then he won 2 supporting actor Oscars back to back. Yeah, he's like highly decorated. This was one of his last movies. It only isn't his last movie because thankfully he followed this up with the film Magnolia, where he plays Tom Cruise's dying father.
Oh, yeah.
And that's actually like a terrific performance. And it's like, okay, thank God he didn't go out on the real Macaw.
Right.
He had like an actual masterpiece in the tank. Probably while he was shooting this, he was reading over the script for Magnolia. But, yeah, he has an American grandpa.
Yeah, so
and it's never explained.
Grandpa works at like a bird sanctuary or something because he's rehabilitating all these. Yeah.
I don't think he works anywhere.
No,
I think he just likes birds.
He seems to have a very bohemian lifestyle where he doesn't care about material possessions. He's not at all worried that he might be losing his house. He just has like, he enjoys like the wonderment of life in general, and he nurses all these wayward parrots back to health. And I guess at some point in his history, he just happens upon Mac the Macaw.
Yeah, it's never explained how
how they got together. But Mac is just chilling out with Grandpa, watching 6 TVs at once.
And like super briefly, I feel like this must have been like something bigger, but there's like a quick snapshot. He's watching like a news report, and we see what will eventually be revealed as like the villain of the movie being interviewed by a news reporter, but it only stays on him for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why even include that? What was the purpose of that?
It's
just to set up the fact that that's a guy?
Yeah, so Matt can recognize him when he goes to the museum.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
They'll know to go to that guy.
But like, I don't know how you would expect a child watching this to connect that dot.
Yeah. So Sam idolizes his grandpa. He'll do anything for him. And I guess he has a very troubled home life, where his dad is upset with the son because his grades are slipping. He has no real initiative, and he tends to back down in the face of any kind of trouble or an adversity. And
I guess we don't see any example of this, because the movie is just like right into it. We never see like an early scene with like him facing a bully
and
or
backing
like
down from a fight,
or doing something,
or slacking off when he should be, rising to a challenge or what have you. And his dad really doesn't like his son hanging out with Grandpa, thinking he's a bad influence. And I think he might be right, because we find out that Grandpa is $100,000 in debt.
Oh, come on, Rick, you're not being fair. Father's wonderful. Yeah, he's a little unique.
Ah, Beth.
Okay, so he's eccentric, maybe.
Irresponsible, maybe.
Having fun is not being irresponsible. Have you forgotten that?
It is if you're $100,000 in debt.
What? What?
I had a call from this lawyer. That's how much Dad owes this guy's clients. And he hasn't got a cent to pay it back.
There's two things about this movie. One, it's a weirdly mean-spirited movie. Everyone is a lot meaner to each other than they kind of need to be.
Yeah.
And, like, certain performances are kind of pitched the wrong way. Like, this dad.
Yeah.
This dad is, like, way nastier than he needs to be.
He
like,
thinks he's in a serious drama.
Yeah, like
he doesn't think he's in a talking parrot kids movie.
Absolutely. Like, when Sam's all like, oh, I'm not hungry, he's all like, sit down and eat your dinner. And it's all like, Jesus Christ, what warranted that?
Yeah.
Nothing warranted that. The other thing is that, Grandpa is an absolutely irresponsible asshole.
Yeah.
Look, it's cool, man, if you want to, like, be a bohemian or whatever and stuff like that. Here's the thing about debt. When you die, it passes down to your fucking family. So, like, it's cool if you don't, like, want to think about, like, worldly possessions and, like, never pay your... But this is a terrible kids movie.
Yes.
It's a terrible kids movie because it teaches
in
kids...
more ways than one, this is a terrible
Don't pay your taxes. Don't pay your bill. Don't worry about it. When the tax man comes...
Disobey your parents.
Just die, and then your family... Well, just like, don't pay your bills. Just have a family, and then when you die, they'll inherit all of your debt. It's a very shitty thing for him to do, and he's never called on it.
Nope. If anything, everybody goes to bat for the grandpa and goes to the dad and say, like, you're being too hard on the kid. And I'm like, no, this kid needs some structure in his fucking life. And dad is kind of right about everything.
The movie sets up the grandpa as if this is the character we're meant to be, like, empathizing with.
Yeah.
Like, it's all like, we don't care about money. We don't care about possessions or anything like that. He's not about, like, possessions, and yet... The crux of the plot is that all of his possessions are going to be taken away. Yeah. And he doesn't like that.
Yeah. I mean, Grandpa falls off a ladder at one point when he's, helping a bird climb back into a tree, and he goes to the hospital. And that's where, the dad rightfully says, we got to have a discussion about your future, Dad. Like, we got to talk about maybe putting you into a retirement home. Very uncomfortable discussions you have to have with an elderly family member. And of course, like, he's pleading to the son for sympathy and everything. And the mom's kind of ganging up on the dad, too. And I'm like, the dad's living in the real world here.
He's a working man. He understands the importance of earning a buck and saving for a rainy day, and more importantly, paying your fucking bills.
Yeah.
I don't like paying bills. God, do it though. It has to be done. There's this really stupid thing that happens in the hospital when they're all sitting around the bed. One would assume that the grandpa has been in this hospital bed for a while now. Like he went through whatever surgery he had to go through. I don't even know what he fell off a ladder, but like nothing's broken because
just his stride.
Yeah, well, nothing because he gets out of bed shortly after that and is running around with the rest of the family. So I don't know what's wrong with him. It's just keeping him there.
They're just keeping there overnight for
old.
observation.
But yeah, he's been there for a while, and the family's there, and Mac is also there, just kind of hanging out.
Perched on like an IV or whatever.
Yeah, just perched there. And then this fucking nurse comes out of nowhere, points at the bird and goes, there he is, makes a big show of it. There he is. No animals allowed in the hospital. And like, he was there for a while.
Yeah.
He must have been there for like several hours.
And he's
at this point. And
he's pretty docile up until the point the orderlies come and apprehend him. And then the bird flips the fuck out.
Yeah, the two orderlies come in. They put him in a big plastic biohazard trash can.
Yeah.
They get him in there, which then they immediately give to Sam and then leave, and then Sam opens the fucking thing and lets him out. So it's like, so congratulations, you accomplished nothing except alarming a bird who was behaving perfectly well. He was a very well behaved bird until you started shaking him and screaming at him.
Well, whatever was in that biohazard container was what gave him the ability to talk. It mutated him to the point of having human sentience and being able to fully communicate, because now the bird's talking to Sam.
Well, that's our read on the situation.
He always had the ability to talk, but he only ever talked to Grandpa, and he talks to Sam now.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course.
And
it should also be clarified that, of course, parrots mimic speech. When we say the bird is talking, we don't mean in that sense. We mean he's talking in full full John Goodman sentences.
Yeah.
Like he can have a conversation. He knows what you're saying, and he'll give you a response, and it's usually full of sass.
Oh, this parrot's a fucking asshole.
This parrot's not a nice guy.
We can get into it.
Everyone is mean in this movie, including the real Macaw. The
Yeah.
real Macaw is a huge jerk.
Yeah. I mean, sure, I could take it if he was just a wisecracking animal sidekick in this, but he's a jerk to the kid. He openly insults a room full of people. He bites pretty much anyone that comes near him. This bird sucks.
And so they go home, and and the dad says, "Dad, I put your house up for sale because you're deeply in debt, and we gotta get this money somehow." And Jason Robards is like, "Oh no!" And then they go home with Mac, and then when no one is looking, Mac spills the beans. He's talking to Sam, and he's all like, "Hey, guess what? I can talk, but shut up right now because we don't have time to do it because this is a weirdly written scene."
Yeah.
I revealed that I can talk,
But we'll talk in the morning.
But also we'll talk in the morning because we all gotta go to bed now.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it though. This will all make sense later.
Yeah, the kid's got a big freaking day under his belt, right? He finds out his grandpa's in debt and he might be dying or whatever the fuck, and the bird's gonna talk, but you just sleep on it for now, kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally go to bed after that. Yeah. After the revelation that
but we gotta save your grandpa!
That an animal has sentience.
Yeah.
Yes. So the next morning they wake up, there's a bratty sister.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to mention that because there's going to be a revelation at the end of the movie. I have to at least mention that there is a There is
an older sister, but like she's barely a character in this movie.
This is a nuclear family, dad, mom, two kids.
In this scene, this early breakfast scene, they try to do this thing where the bird mimics sounds. So, like, he mimics the phone ringing and they go pick it up. Or he mimics, like, a radio call. He mimics the dog barking and the whole family's flipping out. Like, what is going on?
He mimics the kettle, and so the mom pours the cold water into the instant coffee, and the dad's like, "This is cold."
Mm-hmm. Daughter keeps answering the phone. There's nobody there. What's going on? It's the bird.
It never works.
It's
never
shot
works. Yeah.
badly.
Yeah. It's confusing, because it's like, okay, the bird is making noises, but the people aren't necessarily reacting the right way to the right sound at the right time.
And it happens very quickly, and if you didn't have the subtitles underneath which actually indicates that he's mimicking this thing, you're just wondering what the fuck is happening, because they're having all these close-ups of a bird just kind of like looking around, and then the human characters are flipping out because they don't know what the hell's going on.
So because this bird does a thing that birds
do.
Not all birds do, but all macaws certainly are known to do. They mimic the noises that they hear.
Sure.
So because this bird, who is a very old bird and of course has picked up lots of this stuff by now, because he does what a macaw would naturally do in this situation, the dad's like, "That's it, that's the last straw, I'm getting rid of this bird." This is because he made a noise that sounded like a cell phone and then a dog.
Yeah.
He's out! He's out on the streets!
That's the last straw!
That's the last straw for this bird! I gotta get this bird out of this house!
Yeah.
And he leaves, and he goes, and look, the grandpa is an asshole, but like, selling your dad's pet when he's in the hospital?
Yeah, that's a dick
This entire
move.
family is a bunch of... the mom's okay.
The
mom's okay because the mom doesn't get anything to do.
Yeah. Do you think they were trying to go for a Monty Python parrot sketch with this pet store?
I mean, that's literally what it opens up with, but it's done so badly because it looks like the scene starts in like the middle of the
routine.
Joke.
Yeah.
I don't understand. He was squawking like crazy a minute ago.
Well, he's had his last squawk now. Pity. Magnificent bird. The Ara Ararauna. Most intelligent non-primate in the animal kingdom.
I guess they're trying to do the parrot sketch?
It's more just that it's a very short scene where the dad takes the bird into a pet store, basically just to find someone who knows more about parrots than he does, so the bird can have proper care or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful plumage.
Beautiful plumage. And then as he goes up to the counter, I guess Mac is pretending to be dead, even though we never saw him do that. So from our context as an audience member, the scene has just begun, and the dad is holding Mac's lifeless body in his hands, which, spoiler, won't be the first time that happens. It was
the one trick the bird could do.
And the pet store owner is just reacting to it, but he's reacting in a way that infers that this scene has been going on for a while. And then Sam runs in, and then as soon as Sam runs in, Mac decides to He's not
Come
playing,
spring to life.
he's not
and-
playing dead anymore, and the two of them run away, and the movie continues.
Yeah.
But it's more that the pet store owner, he's aware of the fact that this situation
could be a parrot.
is
sketch.
reminiscent of the classic Monty Python dead parrot sketch, but he's not going to bring it up. But he knows that that's what's happening here.
So he's choosing to play it like they're
He's
doing
choosing
the
to-
parrot sketch.
It's actually the most subtle performance in the movie.
I would have respected the movie a little bit more if they did lean into that and actually recited some lines for him. But it's like they're setting up that idea, or at least that other actor's picking up on it. But
just like a thing. It's all like, is Mac okay? It's all right, son. He's just pining for the fields.
Yeah, exactly.
Something along those lines. Something of anything. But
Sam and the parrot, they escape together and like through some shitty skateboarding.
They run away into a very convenient bus.
Yeah.
That I guess you just don't have to. I guess you just don't pay bus fare in Australia, because he just runs onto this bus with a wild bird, and the bus driver's just like, yeah, it's fucking fine. I don't care. Although, to be fair, if that happened in Vancouver, I'm sure the bus driver would also react the same way.
I've seen.
I can't get into this, right? I'm not paying enough for this.
I've seen some shit on public transit here in Vancouver.
But like the dad is yelling at Sam through the window, and Sam very pointedly says, "I hate it at home." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on with this family?
Yeah,
there's some unspoken trauma.
Oh sure,
happening here.
At one point, like, doesn't the dad wake up the next morning and he's been sleeping on the couch? So there's obviously some kind of fight that he and the mother had.
Again, that's like an unspoken thing. Like, we don't know the context around that. I was led to infer that he was up all night waiting for Sam to come home.
Okay.
So that's why he slept on the couch. But also, it's like, if you're not going to explain your shit, I'm going to have to make up your mind for you, movie. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe he did have a huge fight with his wife. Who knows?
So, Sam and Mac... the
freelance police. I knew that was going to happen at one point in time when I was watching it. Sam and Mac.
It's Max, though.
I know it is.
So they go to the museum because the bird knows that they can pawn the ring that he has on his talon to the museum guy,
Dr. John Waters,
Dr. Hagen,
right?
Who's this cigar chomping, dressed like
he's
Dennis
evil.
Hopper in Red Rock West. He's a cool professor, you know?
Good pull.
Yeah,
Red
thanks.
Rock West, I like that.
Yeah, he's a cool professor. He's got the bolo tie and the blue jeans, and he's smoking stogies.
Well, you know he's going to be an evil museum curator because he has a cigar.
Yeah.
That's how you know. My mother is a museum curator, and I can definitely tell you, you don't smoke cigars in a museum.
No.
It tends to fuck with the exhibits a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is a rock and roll museum curator.
Yeah. This is how they do it in Australia,
Mike.
Mike.
Don't give no shit. And and then
it's Australian for museum. So they show him the ring, and he offers to pay him $3,000 for it.
He's identified as like an expert of whatever era of this Aztec Mayan.
Sure.
I'm collating the two. I apologize. I don't know. Are they Mayans or are they Aztecs in this?
I'm gonna get it totally wrong.
I mean, they're in Australia, so except they're not. They're on Coral Island.
Right, but the movie opens in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh yeah.
So I
don't know. One of the two.
I'm so sorry for getting it wrong.
I apologize to the Mayans who don't exist anymore.
I apologize to everyone and everything.
I apologize. Yes.
Okay.
We should every episode we should apologize to everyone.
You practically do.
Yes. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry for everything.
So yeah, he says that I will pay you for this treasure, and Sam says like, no, does he find out that there's a buried treasure yet? No, they don't, because he goes back to Grandpa's house and he sees a real estate agent putting a for sale sign up there, and says like, oh, the $3,000 isn't going to save the house.
That's right.
The only reason I remember that is because Sam drops this line like, what are we going to do about that real estate agent? And the bird goes, kill him. Go kill him.
Oh God, that was funny.
Who's that?
Looks like a thug.
No, he's an estate agent.
Same thing.
He's the one selling the house.
Okay, let's think. I know, go kill him. We're estate agents.
So now this is just like a dark passenger situation where, like, Son of Sam style, this animal is just giving him these kill commands to this kid.
What bird, Sam? There's never been a bird. Yeah. There never was a bird the entire time. It is a son of... He's
literally
Son of Sam!
Sam, yeah.
It's Son of Sam! Oh my God!
Oh my God.
Holy shit! This is a serial killer movie. I wrote down at this point in time, I'm like, does John Goodman call someone a sick pussycat? I just wrote down, you're a sick pussycat.
I think he calls Sam that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember why. Goodman's just improving.
Oh, absolutely.
Throughout this entire thing.
Like they just had the footage going and you say, okay, John, just fill in some blanks. So like he's reacting to whenever the bird pecks somebody or he's ruffling. This bird must have been a pain in the ass to work with because he never stops moving.
One of the bits of IMDb trivia is that this bird was actually played by 4 birds.
Oh, yeah.
Who were named Groucho, Harpo, Chico, and...
Oh, the 4th brother.
Tango. So
that's not right.
So even in bird culture, Zeppo, the 4th Marx brother, gets no fucking respect. Couldn't even keep the fucking naming convention. I'm not naming my bird Zeppo. No, I wouldn't do that to him.
All 4 of those birds look like absolute pains to work with.
It's hard to work with animals, especially birds. Here's something I don't know if you know about birds. Famously, they don't care to be in movies. They would rather do anything else.
Yeah.
They'd rather be birds.
Yeah.
You know, they tolerate humans at the very least.
Here's another thing I learned about birds recently. The movie opens with the bird in 1850s Amazon overlooking this treasure.
Oh yeah,
we flash forward to 1998 whenever this movie came out. Macaws only live about 50 years.
Not this macaw. He's the real macaw.
Yeah, he's the real macaw. He's pushing like 150.
I actually didn't know that. Because I know parrots live a long
50 is a long time for an animal to live, but I mean, this bird should be long dead.
Yeah.
The location of the treasure died with him.
I guess I just never thought about that before, but you're right. He's like 450 years old, and that's total...
149 or whatever.
Oh, he's 140. Still, that's total bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, parrots don't live that long.
Yeah.
And if they do, he would not be like a spry... And then, like, spoiler alert to the end of the movie, Mac's mother is still alive.
Yeah, she's gonna be an ancient.
She's even older than he... I don't know how young birds have the babies. Maybe it's like 2. But who knows? Still, though. Still.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
shenanigans on this.
Sam learns
from Mac.
Yeah, that there's a buried treasure. Apparently, Mac told Grandpa, but Grandpa just doesn't give a shit.
Because he doesn't care about money.
He doesn't care about money, man. Just materials, dude.
I'm just your average lackadaisical Australian. Me.
American Australian.
Yeah.
So they go to the museum guy and they sell him the ring and he says, oh boy, hey, would you buy more? And instead of this professor doing the rational thing, which is don't show your hand here, you now have an opportunity to just get some treasure coming your way from this one source, from this kid, like no questions asked. You can pay him whatever you think, whatever you deem is enough for this treasure. But instead, he's like, you know a location of a treasure? Where is it? And he like harasses the kid.
And it's like, he didn't even say treasure. Like we know Sam is talking about a buried treasure, but like he just said like, so like, would you pay... all he said was, would you pay for more treasure? He wasn't even confirming that he had any more treasure. He was just asking a pretty standard follow-up question.
Yeah.
And this guy, this is the most ridiculous villain, because truly, if he had done nothing, he would have ended up with all the treasure. He would have had to pay for it.
Yeah.
But also, like, if
he can say how much it's worth because the kid doesn't know what the value of this is.
And then, exactly, because I'm sure we never get confirmation from this. He gives Sam $3,000 for the ring. I am certain that ring must be worth more than $3,000.
Sure. But $3,000 is a lot to a fucking kid that doesn't know any better. Yeah.
And in the point of fact of the script and everything like that, it gets us to the next place because they use the $3,000 to buy a plane ticket to go to Coral Island to find the rest of the treasure. But truly, if this villain had done nothing, and like if the movie is meant to imply it's all like no, but he's like villainous and he doesn't care who he has to hurt to get his like things and stuff like that. It's all like okay. You don't have to stalk the kid, follow him to the island, and set up this big, complicated thing where you try and, like, steal the treasure from... If you have no scruples about child murder, wait until the child is back in Australia, then kill him and take the treasure. You don't have to put in this amount of effort. I don't know, maybe he's thinking, like, extradition laws. But still, it's like, he's a dumb villain. He's dumb. He makes dumb choices.
And yet, with very little information, he's always one step ahead of that kid. Because I don't even know if you see him follow him, but He's on that plane ride.
He's on the plane.
He knows
ride, yeah.
exactly which resort they're going to based on no information that he got from the kid.
No, the only way he would have been able to figure that is if he has been following Sam the entire time.
Yeah.
After
even after they thought they lose him, but he's a crafty
he's got
professor.
He's got sources.
Yeah.
Yeah, he works for the fucking Australian Museum.
Yeah. They got the tentacles and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and then
well, like they hop an airplane to go to Coral Island. They have to disguise Mac as like a pimp to get him on board the plane.
There are some times where Mac is very clearly a puppet.
Oh, and this is one of them.
This is one of them.
Yep.
It's the only time where Goodman's words match the movement of the parrot's mouth, because most of the time he's talking and the parrot is just making like regular beak movements, but he's not like saying anything. But when he's this puppet, he's like, yeah, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
He's like flapping
the
around
bird's
like
going
crazy.
all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and Goodman's just trying to keep up with it.
Yeah. And Mac is insulting the guy in the seat next to him, but Sam is trying to play it off like he's just a ventriloquist because he got like another puppet. So this is his way of sneaking Mac onto the plane. He's all like, no, it's just a parrot puppet, and I'm just constantly on. I'm constantly practicing my hot 10-minute set here. And I really like this guy's reaction where he's just like, you're the rudest little boy I've ever met. And he gets up and he walks away. And I'm immediately thinking like,
where's he going to go?
Where are you going? You're on an airplane.
You got an assigned seat.
You have to sit there.
There are no available seats anywhere,
You
sir.
are essentially trapped.
He just walks out the plane.
I did like that. I just thought that was really funny. So the guy just like gets up in a huff and immediately a stewardess is all like, sir, please return to your seat. Fasten your safety
just
belt."
stays in the lavatory for the entire trip now. So they land on the island. They go 50 paces west from the beach, and they come across a hotel resort because where they originally buried the treasure has now been paved over and put a hotel up, and then a lot of shenanigans ensue. The kid can't rent a room, so he has to sneak in like some old lady disguise, but he's immediately found out. Like, he doesn't fool anybody.
No.
Yeah.
And now we're entering real Dunstan checks in levels of wacky kid movie shenanigans here, where it's just like, there's like a rude hotel guy. There's a big fat security guard. What do you think of the security guard outfits in this movie? Like the light, breathable, like
island fare. Like,
well, it's like a satin shirt. It was a weird security guard outfit.
Yeah.
That because we keep seeing this guy. We keep going back to this guy over and over.
Yeah, he's the secondary antagonist in this.
I do need to point out, I do need to go back to the plane because we forgot to mention that Mac gets served some peanuts, and at one point in time, John Goodman does say the line, "Let go of my nuts, kid." No, what was it? I have to get the line right. Something about nuts in my mouth. It was the type of line where like he knew they knew exactly what they were doing.
It was the dirty one, yeah.
Where they were.
That line's for the parents.
That line's for the birds.
Oh.
I don't know. Keep talking. I'll find it.
Okay. Eventually, the
let go of my nuts, kid. That's what he says. Okay, there we go.
Let go of my nuts, kid.
Where did you get nuts in my mouth from?
Because I don't know. I was reaching. I don't know.
So the kid starts digging up under every tree in the jungle looking for this treasure, and they have to do it at night because security's onto them, and they found out that the professor followed them to the resort.
Yep, a totally normal thing to do. That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And isn't it all psychotic? So it's a bunch of this kid and this bird hanging around this hotel that he's not staying at.
Nope, sneaking through vents and shit.
And yet he manages to like hang out. Yeah, they're fucking sneaking through like the world's giant fucking air vents that is just big enough for a small boy and a large bird. It's
at one point, the parrot sneaks into like the restaurant in a stupid scene because like, who's not going to notice a giant blue bird sitting on some food? So he blends perfectly in. But
they haven't eaten anything, so Mac is going to go steal some food for Sam and him, and so he like flies over. Also, we need to mention every time there's a shot of Mac flying, it's the same CGI parrot
Yeah.
shot, but it's the same animation
Yep.
every single time. Did you ever see that fourth Christopher Reeve Superman movie?
When I was a little kid, I think so.
They ran out of money so quickly during that movie that every time there's a shot of like Superman flying through the air, it's the same shot. And like it reminded me of that, and that every time Mac has to like fly from place to place, it's this very poorly compressed 3D parrot model. So every time he has to go from like point A to point B, take a shot. Take a shot every time that you see that fucking CGI bird.
It's like it's a slower moving than you can imagine a parrot flying that.
But he lands on a platter that's being carried by a waiter, and then he immediately goes like, I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
And so they put it down on the thing, and he once again goes completely stiff.
Yeah.
And just pretends like no one's there. But there's this
giant bird on it.
This giant, unmoving, feathered bird
brightly
on the plate.
Colored bird on
and
it.
So, of course, the waiter does the only thing he can think of. He starts poking it.
Yeah.
And then he starts moving. He's like, oh, it's one of these.
Yeah.
It's one of the alive ones.
Yeah. And then he starts a fire? Well, he knocks
over like a tiki torch, and it sets a banner on fire.
Yeah, and the security guy comes out, wastes half the fire extinguisher getting there, and then finally puts the fire out.
And then they're sneaking around through the vents and everything, and they climb up through a vent, and they embarrassingly find themselves on stage with a bunch of musicians, and the crowd goes dead, and everyone's looking at them.
Bandmates don't know what the fuck's going on, so their only way out of this one is to put on a show.
Turns out that airplane scene was necessary. Turns out that was setting the scene for what was to come.
They practice a ventriloquist act, apparently, and Mac's behaving like a puppet, and he's just doing a Don Rickles routine where he just insults the audience.
Yeah.
Okay, morons! Are we ready for another animal act? Oh, you belong to me. I should like to be a bird. Well, it's no bed of roses. Being a bird has its upside. We get to make fun of you idiots. All we have to do is say, hello, Polly, to one of you humans, and you say it back to us for an hour. You're a complete moron. In fact, you're a bunch of brainless lemmings. What are you? Oh, let's hear that again.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And the crowd fucking loves it.
And by ventriloquist act, we mean Sam stands perfectly motionless while the bird just like talks to everybody in the room and makes color commentary on people's outfits and
calls them dumb and
calls them.
But in this,
they love it. Yeah.
In this scenario, it's in their minds this is a ventriloquist act, and it's just a kid calling a room full of adults idiots.
Yeah. And not only that, he came up through the stage in the middle of a jazz set.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't done. Like, the musicians weren't done.
The band should have, shoot him off the stage.
But no one in this movie acts like people actually talk to. We should also probably mention, during all of this, the family, including the grandpa, has figured out where Sam is, because Grandpa has been all like, by the way, my bird can talk, and there's a buried treasure.
He told me about this treasure.
And that's literally where they are right now. So the three of them, they leave the daughter at home. That's important for later. Put a pin in that. So we're getting a lot more Jason Robards in this movie than I thought we were going. Honestly, when he fell off the ladder, I'm all like, that's all they could get. 2-time Academy Award winner Jason Robards to do. Yeah. No, he's in a decent amount of this.
Yeah, he drops the line to the dad. At some point, you lost your sense of joy. And that's why Sam ran away from home and everything. And I'm just like, oh, sorry for being the fucking responsible parent in our fucking household.
I lost joy because I had to fucking take care of 2 children. My actual kid, and my father.
Yeah.
Who refuses to pay his taxes. No wonder I'm stressed out. You would be too.
Yeah. But of course
keep you out of jail, goddammit.
But of course all of this lands and the father feels like such a piece of shit. Yeah. So it's like
he's all like, my God, you're right.
I've been a horrible father, putting boundaries on my kid. Yeah, go figure.
Putting clothes on his back and food in his belly.
Wanting him to apply himself.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And so Sam gets captured by the security guard, and he's about to be thrown out, and then the biggest fucking Deus Ex Machina.
I'm the hotel manager, and we loved your ventriloquist act.
And he's all like, give this boy a room. No follow-up questions about where his parents are.
Yeah.
Give them the bird and the... Which I am now seeing with my eyes is a real bird.
Yeah.
And not a puppet at all. No follow-up questions at all.
In fact, I want you to perform tomorrow night and every night. And meanwhile, I'm thinking the band must be like, this is bullshit. Stopped in the middle of our set, like, are we still getting paid for the night? So
dropped out of that Chicago touring act for no reason.
Chicago
the band.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, wow. Okay, so that night, Mac gets drunk on rum cake and
yeah. There's fully a shot. I liked this shot of the shot with just like the bird like fully in this cake.
Yeah.
This bird had a great day on set because he just went hog wild on this, an entire cake just for him.
Mm.
He's just burying his head in it, coming up covered in frost and all. Like, it was good. He went back to the other 3 parrots that night. It's all like, what'd you guys do?
I rode on a kid's back for a couple of action scenes. I crawled through an air duct. I had some rum cake. That rum cake had a kick like a mule.
Yeah, he literally, that's a plot point. He wakes up with a hangover the next
in
day.
a kid's movie.
But
he does drop the line that he misses his old life and that he misses his family, and that's what makes Sam realize maybe I miss my family too.
It's a really stupidly written
it's
line,
so
though,
bad.
because Mac is going all like, when they took me away from my family, I realized something. What's that? I miss them. That's the actual line from the movie. I couldn't believe.
Do you have a family, friends and stuff?
Well, I did.
Did your parents give you a hard time?
Oh, yeah, sure. But when I was taken away, I realized something.
What?
I missed them.
Did you miss the forest too?
Not at first. But the funny thing is, the older I get, the more I do.
Okay, great.
Oh, it's just so like being kidnapped made me realize I don't like being kidnapped.
Yeah.
So the family gets to the Coral Island, and the grandpa starts taking paces to follow the path that I guess Sam and the bird are following, but that doesn't make any fucking sense. Mac knows what nondescript spot on the beach to start walking from because he was there, and he can kind of like half remember like, oh, it looked like this back in like the 1800s. Okay, now I know. Then he like presumably told Grandpa, okay, so like you come out of the ocean and then you start walking into the bush and it's like 600 paces or whatever. Grandpa would have no way of knowing where to start because there's no starting landmark. There is no starting landmark. There's an ending landmark.
Yeah.
But the pirate just picked like a random spot out of the ocean to start walking. No one who wasn't literally there
would know
where to start walking.
I mean, the professor knows exactly where to dig in the jungle too. He starts
but that's because he let someone else do the heavy work for him.
Yeah.
He followed the kid.
So he starts digging up around all the trees of the jungle and shit. But then Sam finds that the tree is actually in part of the atrium of the...
It's inside the hotel.
It's inside the hotel.
Like, well, duh, I could have fucking told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is funny that they built this hotel around these trees, including like the one important tree with the X on it, and they kept it there, and they didn't like remove. It's not like, that tree's got an X on it. Just hang a banner in front
of it.
I like it. Yeah,
it adds to the decor.
Adds character. Yeah, absolutely.
So Matt gets some blueprints of the hotel and goes underneath the spot with the tree, and then starts hacking away at the foundation of this hotel. There's a really under the instruction of the parrot.
There's a really funny line where Sam is saying, like, "Well, I can't like start dig. I can't dig through like the ceiling, the floor of like the dining room or whatever." And Mac literally says, "No, dig up."
Dig up, stupid.
Dig up, stupid. I'm like, well, if a movie can make this work, I guess it's the real Macaw. I don't know.
And only the way the real Macaw can.
There's also like a moment when I don't remember when this happens, but at some point in time, Mac snatches the security guard's toupee.
Yeah.
Off of his head. Was this? I guess this must have been in like the earlier scene where he was making fun of everybody.
No, this was a part where when they're digging under the tree, Sam breaks a water main, And then he says, I'm done. This is stupid. We're
Yeah.
never going to find the treasure. And he storms off.
Oh,
he has
yeah,
a fight
they
with
do.
Mac. And
Yeah.
then he finds his way back on the stage, ruining that jazz band's set again.
He does the same thing,
Yeah.
except this time he doesn't have the bird with him.
Yeah, and the crowd goes
Yeah.
wild, and the band's just like, what the fuck? But that's when Mac shows up again, because that argument between them lasted a good, 10 seconds.
It's a completely pointless argument.
Yeah.
Because they make up immediately.
Yeah.
And then, the villain shows up and they don't have time to unpack what they were arguing about. But yeah, he snatches the toupee off of the security guard. They didn't cast
a bald man
and then give him a toupee. They cast an actor who clearly has hair and then gave him the worst bald cap I've ever seen.
That is such a shitty bald.
It's so obvious that that's what that is.
It's a leather yarmulke is what it is.
Which, look, I know this isn't the biggest budget movie of all time, but surely they had enough money to go up to this guy and say, okay, you've casted this, we need you to shave your head.
Yeah.
We need you to shave your head.
Or cast a bald guy and give him a wig.
People with hair, you can get rid of the hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. This guy's all like, no, I'm an Australian institution. People know me for my lush head of hair.
Yeah.
I have to have my hair. It's my trademark.
Yeah. At one point, I get the treasure under the tree gets dislodged. The hotel doesn't get flooded or whatever, but they do get the treasure.
They do get the treasure. They get sucked out through a hole.
Yeah.
We see Grandpa and the dad and the mom. He's counting the last of the stuff. He's counting 538, 549, and he gets to the lobby. That's not where Sam got to. Well, he got to the wall of the thing when he got to 540. So I don't know how Grandpa was counting. But
decided to go around a wall.
But for some reason, they ended up exactly where they needed to be.
All right, now that we bypassed that wall, let's carry on with the footsteps. I don't know, it looks like they had to wind through a winding hallway to get to that part of the lobby too.
It's not a straight line.
No, apparently
to get
not.
To that point.
But the evil professor is there at the beach, and he kidnaps Sam and takes the treasure for himself, and they get away on a boat.
And Sam is like, it's fine, just take the treasure. Clearly this isn't worth my life. Just take the treasure, it's fine. You can have it.
I'll tell everyone that you found it.
And then the doctor says something very confusing. He says, sorry, Sam, you're the only person keeping me from legally owning that chest. And I'm like,
huh?
What?
Let me go. You can have the treasure.
No, dear boy. That's simply not possible. Unfortunately, you're the only person between me and my legally owning all the riches in that chest.
No, it's not. No. I'm sorry. Finders keepers is not a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a legally binding thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Especially since the kid pleading for his life says, I'll just give it to you.
Just
don't hurt me, you know?
You just want to murder a child. Just be honest with yourself. You want to commit child murder is what you want to do. Just be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. John Waters. So yeah, he tosses this boy overboard.
Mm-hmm. But luckily, the dinghy from the boat is still tied up to the boat, and it's dragging behind the boat enough so that he could grab onto the dinghy and climb aboard. And I'm like, those things are usually fastened to the backs of boats on the boat, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would flip over. Mm-hmm. If that boat was going like the regular speed that boats go, like the blow up dinghy or whatever would be flip flopping all over in the water. Like, that's what happens when you tie someone to the back of a car. They're gonna get all fucked up.
But this is the part of the movie where Sam steps up. You know, he doesn't run away from his problems. He actually faces them head on and rises to the occasion.
So Sam climbs out of the water and he climbs back into the boat, and then he looks at the wall, and we see that he's looking at like a big fucking hunting knife.
Yeah.
And for like a split second, I'm all like, oh shit.
Is he gonna stab this guy?
He's just gonna kill he tried to kill him.
Yeah.
It would be warranted. It's self-defense at that point.
Sure.
But no. Naturally what he does is he takes the knife and what I thought he was going to do, I thought he was, what makes more sense,
put the treasure chest on the boat and then get in the boat and then cut the tether.
Yes, that's what I thought he was going to do.
That would make sense.
Instead, he does the much more elaborate thing of cutting the brake line of the boat.
He cuts the fuel line.
The fuel line of the boat, yeah.
Yeah, he cuts the fuel line of the boat, alerting the professor to what he's doing.
It's super fucking noisy about it.
Yeah.
And then, and the professor is about to turn the tables on Sam yet again.
And then the bird shows up.
The bird. Because
I was actually wondering where the bird was.
The bird's been missing for a while.
Yeah,
but
he manages to catch up to this speeding boat that's like miles out into the ocean, and he attacks the professor. Sam gets into the boat with the treasure. And the parrot snatches the cigar out of the professor.
Because he's smoking a celebratory cigar. He's nothing like a good cigar after child murder, is what I always say.
And this is the part where I went, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, is there...
see, like, what Mac does is deliberate. And Sam is, because he's got fuel all over the deck.
Yeah.
And Sam is screaming, Mac, no, don't! And then Mac drops the cigar.
See
He's
you
like,
in hell, Dr. Death, or whatever.
Absolutely. That is fully, intentionally what Mac intended to do. He
Yeah.
intended to blow up that boat.
Yeah.
Sam's health and safety be damned at that point in time.
Yeah.
And of course, when the police start questioning Sam, he'll just be like, I didn't blow up the boat. It was the bird. It was the bird, I tell ya.
So our second ship explosion
That's right.
of the movie.
And luckily, I guess the dad commandeered a search and rescue helicopter, so he notices the explosion and he goes over there to...
He notices the explosion, which, like, it like, adjacent to his helicopter is, like, over there.
Yeah.
It's funny, he's, like, looking everywhere for a boat, and then he sees, like, an It's not that he sees an explosion in the distance, it's like the explosion happens, like, it's to my right.
Yeah.
There he is! Like, I know it's dark at night or whatever, but, like, you'd see the boat.
Yeah. We see that Mac looks like he's dead. He's floating on a debris.
This is fully when the movie gets, like, flat out traumatizing.
I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Like, children should not, I don't know, maybe Australian children are just tougher.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, like, yeah.
This is a bit much. A parrot blows up a boat.
Children shouldn't be watching this movie for a multitude of reasons that we've talked about, but there's a good 5 to 7 minutes of this movie where Mac is a corpse.
Yeah.
that is an ex-parrot, my friend.
Yes. And Sam is like cradling him and sobbing like, you gotta wake up, Mac! You gotta wake up!
You gotta live, Mac! You gotta live! You gotta do it, man!
Yeah, right next to a burning boat, and the helicopter's over, so the waves are chopping everywhere. And the dad throws him down a rope. He's like, climb up, son! I know you can do it! And I'm like, that's not how the search and rescue would happen. You gotta send a guy in there to fasten the kid into like a harness or something.
Well, I don't think this was a search and rescue. I think he just got a helicopter.
Yeah, and the dad just throws a rope and he says, all right, climb it up just like in gym class. Do it.
Yeah, they had to make and here's like the next like deeply traumatizing part of the thing. He tells Sam to let go of the bird.
Yeah, you need both hands, son.
You gotta let him go. It's like you just gotta let him your dead parrot friend float away on the fucking ocean or whatever.
Yeah. And Sam he can't even climb the rope because it's too hard.
No, because he's a pathetic little shit boy.
Who can't do anything
he can't do nothing
against the slightest bit of adversity. So the dad jumps from the helicopter to prove once and for all that he actually truly does love his son. And he says, I love you, son. I'm so proud of you.
And then not only is the treasure still totally safe in the dinghy, which is holding on for dear life, but somehow over the roar of a helicopter and the raging water sloshing them back and forth, hitting their ears, Sam can hear the faint parrot whisper of his friend. I'm like, sure. I'm sure, because Mac's literally just going like, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam. And it's all like, I hear that! He's alive!
Crikey!
He's alive,
Me bird's
Dad!
alive!
And there's totally a moment here where he's going on like, Dad, he's alive! And just like off camera, the dad's all like, fuck.
Yeah.
I thought I was finally rid of that bird. God damn it.
So they make it back to shore. Evil professor gets arrested,
but then makes a break for it, and Dad and
Grandpa
bond over tackling him together.
Yeah.
And this is what gives Dad his joie de vivre back. He's like, that was fun. I enjoyed tackling a live man for sport. That was great.
Grandpa gets to prove that he's still fit and won't need to be confined in a nursing home or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
There's one part of that scene where the mom, who's got really fuck all to do right now, she goes and gives a hug to everybody, and then the dad goes in for a kiss, but she totally ducks him. Yeah. She totally like leans away from that.
Not
kiss.
Ready for that. Yeah.
No.
The only thing I know about this actress who plays the mom is that is Hugh Jackman's wife.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And they have been married since like the 90s. So yeah, they've been together for a really long time. So yeah, why would I want to kiss this schlub when I got
Hugh Jackman?
A nice slice of Jackman at home. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Sam has like rightful ownership of the treasure, but he says, "I'm going to give it to Grandpa."
Under the law of finders keepers, losers weepers.
Yeah, I'm going to give
the legally binding law of finders keepers, which seems to be a thing in this movie.
It is in Australia, I guess.
I guess,
and
it is in Coral Island. Coral Island
has
its own set of laws.
Yeah,
yeah.
But Grandpa does not want the treasure because it's not his to take. So it belongs back with the people of the Amazon, whoever they are.
Which was
very noble.
Which is a very altruistic take that I did not expect this movie to go to. But yeah, absolutely. Sam does the right thing and he gives the treasure back to the ancestors of the people that it was stolen from, which is a surprising avenue for this movie to take. And completely seems to forget the fact that Grandpa is still deeply in debt.
Yeah.
And that is not resolved by the end of the movie.
Nope.
Like, there's like a throwaway line where the dad's like, we'll help out a little bit. It's all like,
$100,000
in debt. What are you talking? This is still very much a problem.
Well, I'll put in some more hours. Honey, you're going to have to get a second job.
Yeah. And so
one of you kids ain't going to college.
Let's face it, it's Sam. And then we see Sam in the temple from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And fucking
putting everything back in the shallow pool.
The treasure in you is fucking playing.
Yeah.
And like, this is so weirdly shot because, Sam is alone in the temple putting, like, the treasure back, and he's doing it so deliberately. He's like, you go there, and it's like, you don't know where that's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is... I know he found the treasure, but, like, why is Sam the one who's putting the treasure back? No one else is in there with him. And then he puts like the last like gold mask up. He's like, there we go. Perfect. And then he leaves the temple and there's thousands of people. There's like film crews who like, what were you filming up until that point?
Just like the temple waiting for him to come out.
You were just waiting for him to come back. Why did he do it by himself?
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense.
The president of the Amazon, I assume, is there to shake his hand.
But just like, it's so weird that he did that and like no one else was in there. And then he comes out to like rapturous applause, cut over to his family, including his sister, who is now there.
Yeah. She finally
the movie
showed up
remembered
again.
that she was a character. I guess, again, we can imply that some time has passed and I guess they said it's all like, maybe we should get our other kid.
Yeah. Wonder how she's holding up.
back together.
Yeah.
And we can infer a bunch from this movie. We can infer maybe they got like a finder's fee for giving the treasure back. Maybe that helped Grandpa out. I don't know, but the movie doesn't fucking explain it.
No.
So we have to make up the parts of the movie that make sense by ourselves.
Yeah. And then there's the tearjerker moment where Mac goes to Sam like, I'm staying here. This is where I belong.
And he decides to stay in the jungle. And Grandpa says like the wonder of life. And they all say, the wonder of life. And it's all, I guess that was a mantra?
That was the mantra, yeah. They said it earlier in the movie.
When? In like the first 2 minutes? I don't remember
the
that
first
shit.
scene with the grandpa, where after he like gets rid of his mail, or he's like, bills.
The wonder of life!
The wonder of life is what matters most.
Throwing your gas bill away, the wonder of life. And then Mac flies away. He's like, I'm home! And then his mom shows up and immediately starts giving him shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where have you been? And he can't stand his nagging mother, so presumably he flies after Sam and Grandpa.
But it's too late. Now he's trapped there, and this is where he will die.
That's the movie.
And that is the real Macaw.
Yeah. The real Macaw was the Macaw inside us all along.
What haven't we talked about? There's a line, I wrote down like a lot of, there's some weird fucking lines in this movie. When earlier when Grandpa is in the hospital and they're talking about like his finances and everything, and he's saying like, oh, what do I need money for? I got everything I need. I got like my health. I have a family to infuriate me. I'm like, I don't think you know what that word means. That's like, you're infuriating your family.
Maybe meant that.
They're not really infuriating, maybe your son, but he says it like happy. He says it as like a happy thing.
Oh,
like,
maybe
this
he
is
was
what I
being
want.
tongue-in-cheek.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Sam has the line, Grandpa's never done anything bad to anyone. Except never pay his fucking bills.
For real. So those creditors are not doing so hot.
No.
gotta worry about the creditors.
Think about the poor creditors.
At one point, Mac, when he sees the real estate agent putting up the for sale sign, he says, oh, it's a thug. And Sam says, oh, that's just a real estate agent. It's same thing.
Same difference.
He's got some weird prejudices, this bird.
Like, he has some weird lines that was all like, John Goodman clearly didn't think this improv out before he said it. Like, he's talking about, like, security guard. He says, like, oh, look at this guy. Bozo the clown come to life.
Bozo was a real guy.
Bozo was alive.
Yeah.
Do you mean like Bozo the Clown back from the dead? I think maybe that's what you meant if you took like another pass on that line, but no, we only had John Goodman for an afternoon.
Oh. The only thing that I think that we haven't mentioned was in the scenes where Sam is trying to do the paces towards the buried treasure and he's counting each step.
Oh, God.
There's this really stupid gag
where
Mac keeps naming all these animals as like sort of the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Well, he
but
says
he goes,
hippopotamus.
He says hippopotamus, so like 138, hippopotamus, 139. Hippopotamus. Stop saying hippopotamus. Fine. And then he starts
All
naming.
you had to do was ask.
And then he starts naming all the other fucking animals.
Aardvark, new.
Caribou.
I liked how his second animal was new. He went immediately to new. And I'm all like, all right.
Okay.
Lesser wombat. I don't know. Like, yeah, John Goodman's getting a little spicy there. Yeah. So
yeah, the real.
Yeah, and then the credits are over with our other original song. You talk too much. You talk about treasure. You talk too much. You're a fucking talking bird. You talk.
Yeah.
Just has been stuck in my head since I heard it. Because he fucking does it. This movie.
Because it's Bill Conti.
This movie does talk far too much.
Yes, it does.
But does it have a certain something, or is it just a whole lot of nothing?
Ooh, this is a really hard one for me to answer. I mean, most of this movie is fucking stupid and annoying. And yet, I think those last 10 minutes on the boat and all the kind of ratcheting emotions that happen as everything comes to a head. Like, oh, you see Sam face against adversity and not just give up, which the movie always says that he does. So that's the end of his journey. He actually takes some steps to grow. And the dad is rightfully the guy who shows up and rescues his son. So we can know that there's still a loving bond between those guys. And, well, you're all of a sudden worried if this parrot's gonna die. And, the parrot causes an explosion on the boat. This movie's certain something is everything that happens between when the professor kidnaps Sam and takes him on the boat and when he's arrested.
So, is it worth it to sit through the entire movie, or do you think you could just watch, the last, 15 minutes and kind of enjoy how crazy it is? Or do you need that context to understand what's going on?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, look, it's not a terribly short movie.
No, this is actually surprisingly long.
Oh, I think I fucked up. I think I meant to say that it's a relative. How long is this movie?
I think it's
Is it an hour 40?
I think it's an hour 40.
Because we tend to average, and an hour 20, hour 30. 20, hour 30 on this pile. We've done longer movies before, but I couldn't tell you how long this was.
I know there was one point where I had to stop the movie, and this was
it's an hour 31. It is short. It just feels like an eternity.
It takes 30 minutes for Sam to realize that bird can talk.
It takes 30 minutes before the bird reveals that he can talk. You said the word annoying. I feel like that's the operative word here. This is an annoying movie. The ending song is quite apt. Everyone is talking all the time. People are talking over one another. That's the thing about John Goodman's performance, is that his lines often overlap with the dialogue that the actor playing Sam has to say.
Because he has to match what the bird's doing, and I guarantee you, whatever animal trainer they had on set was not very good at their job, or all four of those parrots were just these disobedient little shits.
I don't think the parrots were being disobedient. I think they were being parrots. That's the thing when you have to do these dumb talking animal movies, is that animals don't fucking sit still. They're always observing their surroundings. So whenever you have a talking dog movie and there's long stretches of dialogue, the dog is always looking around at shit.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's the same with birds.
They're not actors. They're
not meant to sit still or whatever. They're just being birds. They want to walk around. They want to feel...
They want to fly.
They want to feel...
Gotta let the birds fly!
You gotta let them fly!
Yeah.
I think I read in the IMDb trivia, at least one of the birds could not fly, never learned how to fly. And I think that was the bird that's in the movie the most, because... Obviously, if you have a bird that can fly...
It's gonna get away.
It's gonna fly! It's gonna go away! It's gonna not be in your stupid movie, so you have to have at least one bird who never learned from a young age, and I think that was probably the number one. That was Zeppo. No, Zeppo's not in this movie. That was Chico.
And I still just can't believe that. It's acclaimed legendary actor John Goodman inexplicably voicing this stupid parrot.
He'll do that. He's doing fucking Uber Eats commercials right now, dude. Fucking John Goodman will take a paycheck. He's happy to.
I suppose.
He's definitely happy to.
All right, well.
But this is a mean-spirited movie. Everyone's really mean or whatever. I feel like at one point in time, one of Sam's comebacks to Mac is, Polly want a punch in the mouth?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like that sums this movie up like perfect. That should have been the tagline. Polly wants a punch in the mouth. You will, by the end of this movie, you will want to strangle John Goodman.
Yeah.
the most lovable guy in Hollywood.
Yeah, but the way he talks as a parrot, he has contempt for every human being on the planet.
It's just every time anyone does a parrot voice. Because parrots squawk. They obviously squawk. You know what they don't do? They don't go, ah! That's not a thing. Parrots have never made that noise, except when they are mimicking people doing that. But, like, that's not a natural noise that parrots make.
Yeah.
But, like, John Goodman is fucking "Gwah!" this entire fucking time, and then he wants to kill the turtles. Speaking of turtles, if you gotta show your kid a movie about buried treasure, fucking show them Mackenzie's Island. It's better than this.
Oh,
it's a better movie. It's a better movie
okay.
to show children, I think.
This
is a deeply irresponsible movie. It teaches kids a lot of bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Pay taxes.
And, and so many mean characters. And
everyone's really mean. Not even just the villain. Yeah.
Well, finally I got to scratch that itch and watch this stupid movie that has talking John Goodman.
And you know, I sped through his filmography. There's lots of movies that he's in that we haven't talked about. We could easily revisit John Goodman someday. I would be more than happy to do that. But we got this out of the way. We got maybe his most obscure, forgotten movie. I don't think
the worst of his obscure movies.
I don't think either of us recommend it.
No, not really.
But there we go, Jameson. We've done this 100 times.
That's right.
We've done this 100 times.
100 movies. Goddamn.
With the asterisk that we've actually done this more than 100 times, and also with the additional asterisk that we're also recording this before we record episode 99 due to the schedule of our guest. So we actually technically haven't watched 100.
I thought we were going to keep the listeners in the dark on that one, but all right.
Nope, full exposure.
Play along, why don't you?
I don't know. That was it. That was The Real Macaw.
Yeah.
It was directed by, you know what? I'm just going to say his name normal.
Okay.
Mario Andrea Chino. That's as normal as I can say it.
When you say normal, do you mean like without an Italian
Without pasta
Okay.
My middle name is lasagna.
Well, Kaz, congratulations on 100 movies.
Congratulations on 100 movies,
we did it, buddy.
This is a wild and crazy.
Fuck,
and then coming up soon, we're gonna have a little bonus episode for all y'all. We have done episodes where we have ranked the first 50 movies that we have done on this podcast, and we're gonna do the same thing for the next 50 movies. We're gonna try our hardest not to make it 2 episodes that average 4 hours in length.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and keep it a little more concise than that.
That's a little ambitious. I think we're gonna cover 25, and then we're gonna get tired and pick it up again in the morning. But we'll see. We're gonna try.
So we're gonna literally do what we did last time.
We'll try not to do that.
We'll try not to do that. I'll try to rest ahead of time so I don't. We split that episode in half because I literally could not speak by the end of it. If you remember, I was like, number 12. But that's coming up. And you know, fucking thank you.
Thank you for listening. Yeah.
I'm certain you're out there. You know, we've been doing this for long enough that I'm sure we have some people.
We have confirmed listeners.
We have confirmed listeners of like people that we know in our lives, past guests and stuff like that. But like, this is a heartfelt thank you to everyone listening to this podcast. That's a stranger that I don't know that is listening to this. This is wild. Thank you for doing that. You have a choice of so many other podcasts, and we thank you for coming back to this one. This has been a real learning experience for both of us. I'm sure we've gotten better. If you compare us to our work.
Just looking at what we've been able to accomplish, like throughout like many technical hurdles, throughout a pandemic, you know, trying to keep a regular schedule going, and we pulled it off. I think so. And, you know, ourselves who have no real formal experience at this, we just kind of learned on the go. And look at us now.
Look at where we are.
5 years going, 100 episodes under our belt. This is 100 plus under about 100 movies covered.
100 movies. You know what? It's a solid 100.
There you go.
Everything else doesn't count.
Yeah.
Those ones don't exist.
Yeah, I echo Kaz's sentiment. Thank you to all the listeners that we don't know personally, but we do appreciate you as an audience. Really special thanks to all of our past guests joined us on episodes.
We're going to name all of them right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
No. Because there's a lot. That's the other thing, is we've had so many people come on and talk to us, and it's been such a fantastic experience. We love it, and
here's to the next 100.
Here's to the next 100, absolutely. And if you're a new listener to this, we hope you come back. You can follow us on all the social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are on Twitter. And you know what? For once, I'm going to throw out a personal follow. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, I'm on there. And because I know that there are at least a couple of people who follow me on Letterboxd that I think are also listeners of the show. Because every time I post a review for a movie that we have covered, I get the same likes from the same people.
Oh.
So I have a feeling that they might be listeners. But if you're looking for me, I'm just Kaz. Not a lot of people have that name, so I'm lucky enough that I am Kazz on Letterboxd, so you can find me. My profile picture currently right now is David Carradine from the movie Shepherd, where he's a ventriloquist. I had to look really hard to find that. That barely exists on the internet, but I was able to find like the one still image of him from that movie.
Good Lord. That takes me back.
I guess I'll take this opportunity to plug my stuff too. If you're interested in seeing any of the animated web cartoons that I've made, or like even the animated features that I've made, some of which Cass has even appeared in, you can find me on YouTube. My channel is Uptown Slim Jim, all one word. So check that out, and you can see all of my animated stuff and all the stuff that I've worked on.
That's that. We'd like to thank Joel Flynn and Luke Schuss and everybody at Podstream Studios for letting us use their equipment. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. We'd like to thank you, the listener, for consuming our show. Next,
consuming, like this is
consume. I try. You know what I was trying to do? I was trying hard not to say the word content, and by omitting that, I ended up using the word consume.
Yeah,
consume. Consume Prilosec. But and next episode will be a movie, and we'll talk about it. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm Kaz.
I'm Jameson, and in the immortal words of John Goodman, fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling. Market zero!